Hello there, it's Alana Tucky, the lead faculty for Math 131, and I'm here to share some Excel wisdom with you. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to look at this data set that was from the Chapter 3 notes. Let me bring those Chapter 3 notes to you so you can see them. And we had this number of Hispanic babies born in the U.S. and the number of non-Hispanic white babies born in the U.S. This was from the U.S. Census that I got this data, or these data, I should say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a scatter plot of both of them and actually find both of the models. So let's see how we do it. So I start off with, I put in all this data, and then I'm actually going to highlight all three of the columns, and then I turn it so that the cursor is kind of a double-sided arrow. You do that by hovering it like between letters A and B. See that line right there? If you hover it over that vertical line right there and double click, then it makes it so that they're all equally width. And then I'm going to make them all centered. So I'm going to click up here. So I highlight all the data, click on the center alignment just because I like it better. And I'm going to give them borders just because I want it to be pretty. And then once I bold it, oh, that's not wide enough now. So let me re-widen it. Okay, cool. Now we've got our data. Beautiful. Now I'm going to insert a column. Oh, you probably wouldn't know how I did that. So I click on this column, kind of click up in this B region right here. Then I right click, insert, and it finds that. And our starter year was 2000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, take away 2000, enter. I'm going to click and drag. Now you could sit there and type 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know, and this one's super easy. But remember, we learned this formula from before. If you take the cell A2, which had 2003, and you take away 2000, right, because 2000 is your starter year, then you click back up on that cell and you kind of hover down to the bottom right corner, so it turns, the cursor turns into a plus sign, which is called a handle. And then you click, hold down your left mouse button, drag, and then let up on your mouse button and it'll fill in all the values for you. Nice, all right? Okay, so now we're going to make a scatter plot for both of them simultaneously. Now, if you remember in the calculator, this was a giant pain, but in Excel, I'm going to highlight the T's and then the Hispanic, non-Hispanic all together in one. Click Insert, Scatter, click on the scattergram, swing. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's so simple. And this is one case where we actually want to leave the legend in because it automatically makes them have different plus signs and all that good stuff. Of course, if you want to change like your color scheme, you can do that, right? But it's still going to make them look different. I don't mind blue and red, so I'll leave them like that. All right, so let me add in titles. We always have to have titles. So let's give it a chart title. We haven't had to do this before, but I'm going to put a chart title above the chart that says U.S. Census, or how about this? Births in the U.S. That's good enough. And then let's add in our chart title, our vertical axis. This was millions of babies or millions of births. Let's put it that way. And then down here we have, oh, the horizontal, there it is. And this was years since 2000. You got to tell it when the since is. You can't just say years because 2 would be year 2, which we don't know. You know, U.S. didn't exist, let alone we wouldn't know what the births of it were anyway. So not that there weren't people here, but we wouldn't know what the births were. Okay, so there we go. We've got our births, we've got our millions of births, we've got our years. Great. If you wanted to say millions here, that's fine too. All right, now remember from before we've learned how we can add grid lines and stuff like that. So if you want to muck around with, you know, playing around with adding major and minor grid lines, that's up to you. Okay, I like them because I think they make it look prettier, but that's just me. Hold on one second. Right click, format the axis. There we go. There's so many things you can play with with Excel. It gets kind of ridiculous. I'm going to make the minor unit 1. That way it looks kind of pretty. Cool. All right, so we got that. And then we've got our scattergram. That's how to make a scattergram. And then if you want to make 2 trend lines, you just click on whichever one you want. So like if I click on the blue dots and I click Add Trend Line, I want to add a linear trend line. I want to display the equation. Cool. I don't think we need anything more than that. If you want to forecast, you can go like ahead 2 periods and behind 2 periods if you want. It'll change your scale. See what happened? It changed the horizontal scale, but that's not the end of the world. You might want to go forward 4. or something like that. And then you can click on the little box that has the equation. You can kind of drag it around. You can go to the home screen and make it bold or whatever. I actually want to give it a few more decimal places, so I think I'm going to go 3 decimal places. There we go. All right, now if we want the other one, let's see here. I'm going to click on the red dots, or whatever they are, red little boxes. Click Add Trendline, Display Equation, and oh, I got to remember, I think I went back 2 and forward 4, I think it was. Oops, I got that backwards. Forward 4, back 2. That's what it is. And I've got my equation displayed, close, and then I'm going to move this down here so I can see it better, and I'll hit Control B, and that'll kind of make it bold. And again, you can fiddle around with where you want it to be located. Cool. That's that. If you ever want to make your line thicker, you can format the trend line and make it so that it's a solid line, right? Line style, there you go. You can say, okay, I want it to be a 1.25, close. And I want this one to be 1.25. So you can fiddle around with the formats and all that stuff. Line style, there we go. All right, we're done. It's that simple. And see how it makes some different colors? You can make, the black one was the Hispanic, the gray one is the non-Hispanic. You can leave that in the legend. If you don't want the lines in there in the legend, you can just kind of, I clicked, here, click off. Click on the, I'll get the whole legend, click again, and it's clicking on that linear Hispanic. If I delete it, and then click and click again and delete it, because it's kind of obvious which one's which as long as you know which ones the dots are for. All right, that's it. It's that fast. So easy to make a scatter plot. You just type in the data, find your t-values if you have to. Not every data set needs that, but this one did. Highlight all of it, click Insert, click Scatter, so on. And then you want to add in your titles. Right-click, Add Trend Line, Display. Right-click, Add Trend Line, Display. It's that simple. And just throw in some titles for your axes, and you're done. As good as that. Right, that's as basic as you can get, really. Well, if you put in the titles. Always got to put in the titles. Here, let me do it. Oh my goodness, I'm having issues. All right, I like the above ones. And of course, you can always fiddle around with the dots. Do you want them to be purple? Do you want them to be diamond shaped? I mean, you always have those options. So, it's up to you if you want how much you want to play, but you have to have at least what I have here going in. Right, that information has to be there because you have to have a title, you have to have a vertical axis title and a horizontal axis title. And you have to have the dots and the lines, right? So this is as basic as you can get. And then you can get more and more and more elaborate the more you do, right? So you can fiddle around with, your axes and your scale and all that good stuff if you so desire. All good? Hopefully this is looking familiar to you if you've been watching some of the previous ones, so you know how quick and easy Excel can be to make just a simple one, but then to make it pretty so that you could put it into a report for a teacher or something, you might have to fiddle around with it some more and make it look nicer. All right, I think we're all done with that. I'll see you back here for more videos.